And is there anything specific that you wanted to talk about?
I guess like this video is gonna go out to like notaries, right? Or like
Yeah,
I'm,
for the most part.
I guess the importance of notaries communicating
Yes.
and following instructions, that's like super important.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
Hi, everybody. My name is Katie. I am with BlueNotary as the Notary Relations Director. And today I have Emily. She is from EmClosings. It is you're national now, right?
Nationwide, yeah.
Nationwide signing service. So thank you so much for coming onto the
Thank
channel.
you for having me.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you got started, because I know that you're a notary as well, but then you also do the signing service on top of that, correct?
Correct, correct. So it's me and Maria. Maria is my mom, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we're both running EmClosings. So it really started with her.
Uh-huh.
16 years ago, she became a notary. And she's been in the loan signing business for 16 years. But she's been she started when I was like 8 years old. So I grew up watching her do all this and doing loan signings, all this notary work. Really, she was a single mom. So it helped
Mhm.
her, provide for us and gave us an amazing childhood.
Yeah.
And when I turned 18, she said I was working at the mall. And she's like, "Hey, you're 18 now. You can get your notary license and you can start doing loan signings." And I was 18, and now I'm like trying to find myself. I don't want to do that, but I did it anyway. And when I saw how she was helping me along the way, she trained me. She taught me how to explain loan documents, how everything needed to be executed.
Mhm.
It just took off from there.
Yeah.
I saw how much money I was making and the business that I was, that I was able to make. I was getting my own clients now. So that was 5 years ago. So I'm 23 now. So I've been doing this since I was 18, straight out of high school.
Mhm.
5 years. So 5 years later, we were doing loan signings, directly with title company signing services. And last year, I got to a point where I'm like, okay, how can I make more of this? And so I started EmClosings. It was just me,
Yeah.
doing the whole nationwide company, but it
Okay.
was just a lot on me. It was
Yeah.
too much, and I just felt like I wasn't getting ahead. So I told my mom, like, hey, jump on board. Let's do this together. I need help.
Yeah.
And that's how it took off. A year later, we're basically doing this nationwide full time. Still
Mhm.
doing closings directly here and there for other clients, but now
Yeah.
with her on board, it's been really, but it's really all because of her. She gave
Oh.
me the tools, and I just made the best out of it. And now we're here working together and closings. Yeah.
Oh, go mom. That's cool. I didn't know that you guys were related, but that's a really exciting. That's
Yeah, it's a
congratulations.
mother-daughter business. Yeah.
Yeah, family owned. So my next question is okay, because this is something that I struggle with. How do you track all of your assignments? Because it's such, yeah, I
Okay.
have the same.
Yeah, I know, like, everything is so spontaneous and, like,
Mhm.
I tell my friends, "I cannot make plans with you, like, during the week because I just don't know how it's gonna look. I don't know what tomorrow's gonna look like. I just don't know."
Yes.
Now it's a little easier now that I have the nationwide service. If I
Mhm.
can block out, if I don't know, maybe go have coffee with someone. I always have my laptop and like my phone, and like anything comes in, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Let me assign this closing, and like I'll be right back.
Yeah.
How do I keep track? This little notepad. I fill out a page every single day of all the things I have to do. Reminders on my phone constantly, alarms. Maria and I is really good to have her on board. And
Mhm.
honestly, when I tried doing this by myself, it was possible. It was just a lot. So
Yeah.
she really handles all the scheduling, closing the requests that come in. She's the
Mhm.
one scheduling the notaries. I do a little bit more behind the scenes, which is doing our social media,
Yeah.
making sure our notaries get paid, tracking every single invoice, every single check that comes in. I'm
Mhm.
following up with clients, whether they're new clients or current clients, making sure they're taken care of, everything. So she's just more the scheduling part. I'm doing a little bit more behind the scenes, just making sure everything's running smoothly. So it's really, we divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys are on top of everything. It seems like because I've worked with you guys as the notary, um,
Yeah.
and I do get the emails and everything as soon as I have a signing or as soon as I have something coming up or if I haven't uploaded it in a certain amount of time. That I think the automation that you guys have is good as far as from the notary side. So good
Yeah,
job.
no, we really take pride in our company and we tell our clients, whether they're new or current, we take pride in being super hands on with
Yeah.
all of their files. And yes, our platform does play a huge role. It's automated and stuff, but it's really us behind the screen all day. And I have my to-do list. Check on Katie signing, check on this signing, check on this one at 2:00. And I have like alarms and stuff. I just think we know closing in real estate is time sensitive. We know that it's not just get a sign and send it whenever you want. These things need to be funded, need to go out a certain time. And we want to make sure we're not just providing the notary service, a stamp, but we're actually making sure this whole thing flows and everything is closed and funded. So it's great to have the platform, and there's automated reminders and stuff, and we have little extra reminders automated that we purposely put in, but we are constantly on top. We're like sleeping with our laptop.
Basically. Yeah, because I saw on your social media, which is amazing, by the way. I really liked your day in the life. That was fun. And I was like, my day in the life don't look. Mine are a little bit more chaotic. I don't know. Yours looks nice.
That was one day out of many. Every single day looks different. That day was pretty chill, honestly. But there's days where I think last week or the week before, it was end of the month. I completely lost count. I was stressed out. I lost count of how many signings I did that day.
Yeah.
It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
I'm glad that you say that, because I've been trying to do the same thing, like do a day in the life, and it's never the same. Like a checklist for other notaries, it's never the same. Like I just got a signing that came in that's like, this is needed today, and I'm like, okay, this is great. But it is so not hit or miss, but like rain or pour and then just drought, where your schedule is open and then it's not.
And then it's not. Yes, no, you're right. It's perfect. It's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
It really is. I guess like the only thing that we try to do consistently is just every morning check our platform, make sure every notary is up to date. And and honestly, we do it day by day, whatever the day brings. And that's the best we can do. As much as you try to plan and have a checklist, you really have to, being a loan signing agent, especially if you're busy, you really have to be flexible and you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, because I agree, because yesterday my books were full and I was like, okay, this is fine. I had one person cancel because they wanted to drive by the property. And then I had another person switch everything because they had something like come up. And I'm like, okay, I had my books. And then now I guess I have this amount of time open.
You have 3 signings a day and then they all get canceled. Or like you're signing to switch times and you have to coordinate with all the other signers. Yeah, you really have to be flexible. You have to be flexible. Thankfully, when I first started, I wasn't like part-time. Like I was 18, I was living with my mom. So I was able to just go in full-time because she had her help me. But I can imagine, I have respect for people that are doing this and another 9-to-5 job, because it requires some flexibility, and people that get ahead, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, it is a little bit. I was working 5 jobs before this. So then, to switch as I got busier with this, I was like, hey guys, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. But yeah, it was a lot. But did you have anything like common mistakes that you see for notaries that you want to tell them, not necessarily to stop doing, but just to watch out for when you were doing loan signings?
Oh my gosh. We had one this is pretty common. We have one right now. When you're doing a seller side signing, I had this today actually, and you're filling out the seller's filling out the disbursement instructions. You need to always check that bank account is the title holders. If an LLC is selling that property, those funds need to go to the LLC. They can't go directly to the person, to a personal account. It's super important. I see that all the time, and that actually happened today.
Are you saying if it's a managing member, the house is owned or the property is owned by a LLC, and then in the disbursement it says like to John Doe?
Let's say it's John Doe LLC. The bank account information needs to be an account under John Doe LLC. It can't go directly to John Doe. Yeah. I've been seeing that. What other mistakes have I? This really depends. Every notary I know in different states is different. Whenever there's a survey in the loan documents or like tax returns that needs to be signed. I have that in my instructions just in case, but a lot of notaries miss that. I know sometimes it's not specified unless we get loan documents and we don't even know it's there, but the survey and tax returns do need to be signed.
Yeah.
That's super important. A lot of notaries don't know that.
Yeah, and there's another part that I think is important a little bit for the 1099s or for the taxes. Sometimes it's missing the social security number
Oh, yes, yes.
for the signers. So you want to make sure to fill that out or have them fill that out with the social security number for the 1099s because usually for whatever reason they want a wet signature or the digital
Right.
signature and then they leave that blank sometimes. So that's something to watch out for. It's either under TIN or the other thing that it'll indicate or it'll be blank on that form. So just watch out for that.
And I guess going back to the disbursement instructions, a lot of, and I get this even in my own signings. Oh, I already gave these instructions to my realtor, or I gave it to the title company. They have it already, but people don't understand like this needs to be filled out because this is signed and notarized, and you're saying that you saw this person fill out their instructions and they're agreeing for that money to be transferred to that account. A lot of I see a lot of people leave it blank, or they just write in a note already provided. But even though it's already provided, we need proof, a document showing proof that those funds need to be wired to that account. So that's super important. Trying to think of other common mistakes. We have an instruction sheet that we include with every signing, except for the RON, it's a little different. But for physical presence signings, we have an instruction sheet that we made with super detailed instructions, and we require the notary to initial it to make sure everything is spot on. So that's how we make sure notaries really don't make mistakes. We also before we get when we get documents from title, we review them before we upload them to the notary. Just to make, yeah, we do. It's a lot of work. That's what I'm telling you. Like we're always on is because we try to avoid mistakes as much as possible. We review the loan docs just to make sure there's nothing missing, just to make sure if there's anything that needs to be initialed that may not know, any common mistakes. We review those documents and then we relay those instructions to the notaries to make sure no mistakes are made, or anything like that.
Yeah. So let's talk about what happens if there is a mistake, the ramifications, because I know that we talk like about how important it is, but I think that sometimes they think, oh, we'll just redo the documents, but it can have actual like monetary
consequences.
Talk about the consequences. Yeah, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely not. It happens all the time. Like most mistakes that we see are really things that you don't have to go back, or like mistakes we see is that they forget to mark off physical presence or online notary, and that could be fixed. That's not an issue. The issue is when they miss a signature or miss initials. They have to go back to the signer to get that signed. And so how we handle that, as soon as we get scan backs, we are immediately checking it. If we notice a mistake, we're immediately call the notary and title both at the same time, so they're both aware. So title isn't just waiting there, has no idea what's going on. Hey, this signature was missing. Hey, this initial is missing. And we tell the notary this needs to be done as soon as possible. This needs to fund today, or it needs to fund tomorrow, and this needs to happen before it makes it to FedEx. So we're in communication. From there, that's all really we can do. And then it's up to it's really on the notary for them to fix a mistake. So we're human, we make mistakes, but as long as you fix it and you're doing your best to fix it, that's really all we care about. We really emphasize how time sensitive these things are, because if there's a loan signing today, you're signing a loan today, and you miss a signature and you don't get that signature until tomorrow, that loan isn't funding, meaning the buyer's probably not getting their keys today and the seller's not getting their funds today. And that's super, super important. So I think some notaries, they know how to do a loan signing, they know how to execute everything properly, but I don't know, I think maybe some notaries still, if they're not in real estate, they haven't been in the real estate world, some of them just don't know any better, and they just don't know how time sensitive these things are and how many things are at stake. Just because of one missing signature or one missing initial, or just because you didn't drop off the documents at FedEx on time. Like there's people's houses, there's people's money in this. And it's super important.
I've had it where there's been an issue, not with me, but in general, there's been an issue, and the people had just come down from up north. They had dogs, they had moving trucks, and they were like ready to move in. But because the funds weren't there, everything wasn't executed, I think they ended up staying at like some motel for however many days until they got everything figured out. but that is something that can actually happen. And if there's something that is rate locked, that can also be,
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
yeah, that is, do you want to go into that?
Yeah. So, and if you're signing a loan, a lot of interest rates, they have an expiration date. And if it's not signed or if the loan docs are not approved by a certain date, and a lot of the times they are signing like one day before the
Yeah.
expiration date, and that loan does not fund, they're going to have to re-sign a whole set of new loan documents, and their loan terms will change, meaning
Yes.
probably that interest rate is going to change or go up.
Yes.
And that's all because you couldn't, the notary probably, missed a signature and couldn't get it corrected on time.
Mhm.
That's huge. So
Yeah.
it's super important to get these mistakes corrected as soon as possible.
So that is the reasoning behind doing the scan backs and doing all of the things on time, and why everybody is so, let's get this all done on time, because it can be very, very time sensitive. My favorite signings are the ones where the settlement date isn't until 5 days.
Oh, yes, because you have like time.
I love those. It's those are my favorite. But those are the unicorns and not the
Right.
norm. So
Right.
yeah. But I did want to talk, I think you said about communication for the notary. How often do you want to hear from us as notaries?
Yeah, we definitely want to know that you've confirmed the appointment right
Mhm,
away, just
mhm.
because you need to be in communication with the signer. We gave you a certain time and date, but we don't know if the signer, I don't know, had an emergency, they can't sign at that time, or they're signing later. And obviously they're time sensitive. We need to know everything that's going on. So we need to know that you will be showing up to the signing at that set time. And if
Yeah.
the signer, for some reason, you for some reason, can't make it at that time, we need to know what time these documents are going to be signed. Why? Because
Mhm.
depending on the time you are signing, we know whether you're going to make it to FedEx or not.
Yes.
It's super important for these documents to make it to FedEx title.
Mhm.
So yeah, we need to know when you're signing these documents, whether it's early in the morning or late in the afternoon, because that way we know when we can expect scan backs
Yeah.
and when title can expect to fund these loan docs. And
Mhm.
we need to know if there's any issues at the closing table. We have a lot of title directly contacts the notary and we have no idea what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
That happens too. So our clients will either directly contact our notary or the
Mhm.
notary will directly contact title.
Mhm.
But then there's issues happening that we're not aware of and that maybe we could have, you know, mediated. We could have, it could have been taken care of, but then they got title involved and it gets messy. So we just need to know when you've confirmed the appointment, are you showing up at that time? Did the time change? If,
Mhm.
if not, please let us know and we'll give you the okay. We need to know if there's any issues at the closing table. Hey, the signer isn't in agreement with the closing cost, with the final CD. They
Mhm.
don't have their ID, they don't have a valid ID, etc. Any concerns that they may have, we need to know. At the end of the day, title is relying on us, on me, on Emily to get this done. They know me, they see my face, they really don't see your face. So I'm really giving the face for you. So I need to know what's going on.
Mhm.
I can help you as best as I can with my expertise and my experience.
Yeah.
And then anything out of my control, we can call title. But at the end of the day, I'm giving the face for
Mhm.
this signing. Although you're helping me, I'm so grateful. I'm really grateful for a notary team. They most of them do amazing. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, I'm giving the face.
Yeah.
So I need to be in the know.
Mhm.
So it's better for everybody. So so the notary has a great signing experience, and so title has a great experience working with us.
Yeah, because I mean, it is your brand too that you're putting on the line, saying,
Yeah.
I can take care of this. We have this notary team that is going to get that all sorted. Do you have any, because this is most likely going to be watched by people that are doing remote online, do you have any advice for them or anything that you wanted them to know?
I think the same thing, communication, especially for remote online notaries. And why? Because normally we're hiring remote online notaries for people that are outside of the country
Mhm.
and they're in completely different time zones. And or these are really sensitive documents. A lot of our remote online notarizations have actually had a case yesterday. There was one document, it wasn't anyone's fault. It was just a document had to be signed for a closing.
Mhm.
And at closing, it just wasn't included. And yesterday, I'm like, hey, this guy's in Colombia and this needs to be signed as soon as possible so we can fund. Or they're in Spain or Italy, or wherever they may be, and it needs to be signed ASAP so it could fund. So we especially need communication from remote online notaries, just because these signers are somewhere else. We need to know that you got a hold of them because they're anywhere in the world. So just especially just remote online notaries, please communicate. We need to know, especially because normally the people you're signing are in completely different time zones. That's what I would ask. We honestly, most the remote online notaries we work with are absolutely great. We love the ones that use BlueNotary platform.
Yay.
I don't know what it is, but when BlueNotary, you guys are amazing. We use 2 or 3 notaries that use BlueNotary, and the platform is amazing. They do a lot more with BlueNotary than they can with a lot of other platforms, especially when it's foreign signers. For some reason, our notaries like, hey, BlueNotary, this is the one we prefer to use.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, because even before I worked with BlueNotary, I used BlueNotary, and I still obviously use BlueNotary as my own company and everything. But we have the biometrics. So if you are a notary that's in a state that allows biometrics, we have the 2-factor authentication, which you always have to do. So it's the ID verification. There's no way around that. But instead of using knowledge-based authentication, we do the biometric scan, which is also recognized. Look it up for your own self, but it is in the state guidelines that is something that's available.
We had a signing once. It was a seller. They were in Spain. They were foreigners, I think. But anyway, there was like 2 title companies working on the same file. And with one of the title companies, they weren't my client. I guess they were the closing agent on the file. But I wasn't in communication with them. I was in communication with an attorney that is my client. And I asked, hey, our notaries use BlueNotary. Is that okay? Title underwriters have very strict requirements. Some only want Notary Cam. Some have a little more flexibility. And she said, yeah, that's totally fine. And then I guess the other title company on file never used BlueNotary. And then the title underwriter, I guess they never heard of BlueNotary either. And they said, hey, we don't know if we can accept this because we've never heard of this platform. Are they, what was it? It was some kind of certification.
MISMO approved.
MISMO approved. And I had to Google it. And I saw BlueNotary is MISMO approved. And I sent them the link. I'm like, yes, BlueNotary is MISMO approved. So I didn't even know that certification was needed for certain underwriters. And you guys having that, it's amazing because I can now tell my clients, hey, BlueNotary is MISMO approved. You're in good hands. It should be fine. So
Yeah. And MISMO is a little bit of a certification that real estate groups use as a standard. And so I think it's every year we go through a different certification to get certified saying that we're MISMO approved. So yes, we are MISMO approved.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I found that on my own. I had to Google it because they asked me, I'm like, are MISMO approved? But thing is, the attorney told me it was okay. So notaries are like, I Googled it and I sent it to them. Yes, MISMO approved, and they were going to re-sign the whole signing with another platform. No. You should be okay.
I have that sometimes too, where I have people ask, okay, what platforms are you using? Is it MISMO approved and stuff like that? And so in case there is someone that is using us, we are MISMO approved. I can see about adding a link, or just if you just Google BlueNotary MISMO, you'll see that we are.
I did send it to that client and it saved everything. I was like, oh, thank you. You don't have to re-sign everything.
Yeah. But it was funny too, because I had title companies when I was first starting out asking me the same thing. And I was like, I have no idea. I just started, whatever. But I didn't know what MISMO approved was either. And the other question that I wanted to ask you, because I just had this happen in my signing this morning, how do you tell notaries to answer when the signers inevitably ask, when will I get my funds?
That really depends. I tell them, depending what side you're doing. So if you're doing, the seller, they're in.
It would be the seller. Yeah.
I would say it depends. Sometimes I do the buyer side as well. I'm like, oh, the buyer will be signing at 2:00 today. You should be having it. I tell them, I don't know when it depends really when the buyer signs. Both docs need to be approved. That I would call title and make sure. If I don't know when the buyer's signing, I'm like, hey, I really depends when the buyer signs. If they haven't already, please call title and make sure when they're signing, just to make sure when you can expect funds. Yeah. If I'm doing the buyer side and I do know when the buyer's signing, I'll let them know. But I always say, please call title to
Yeah.
make sure. We don't have the answers to that.
No, yeah,
You know?
that's exactly what
Yeah,
I do
and
too.
I always reassure them like, hey, listen, as soon as or if I have my mobile scanner, I'm scanning it right now, so title has it right away, so they
Yeah.
can fund if the buyer signs, nothing will be delayed. Or as soon as I leave here, I am scanning everything back. Title company will have scan backs by 10:30, and I normally send them a text. Hey, by the way, scans were sent to title, or scans have been uploaded. So I did everything in my, I did my part to make sure you're getting your funds.
Yeah.
So I kind of reassure them in that way.
I do the same thing where I don't say it like this, but I'm just the notary. I don't know, but that's a little bit out of our scope as far as like being able to answer questions specifically like that. So yeah, I would just refer to the title company and say, if I'm doing a remote online, I would say as soon as I send the documents over, I'll include that in an email that you were asking. So that way they can reach out directly to you. And then I just include it in an email saying, hey,
Yeah,
they're
same.
asking
I
about
let title know, be like, hey, by the way, seller wanted to know
this.
when they're getting their funds. I've got the same question for buyers. Hey, when am I getting my keys?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I said some sellers are willing to give you the keys before they even see the funds in their account.
Mhm.
That is the case sometimes. But if I tell them, hey, really get in contact with your agent and
Mhm.
get in contact with the seller, I'm sure as soon as they have the funds and hit their account, you'll be able to get keys. So it really goes both ways. Sellers ask when they get their funds, and the buyers ask when they get their keys.
Yeah.
And then for refinances, if the refinance is on their primary residence,
Mhm.
they have a 3-day
Right of recession.
recession period. So they get it. So I look at the CD and I see when it's funded. I say, hey, your loan is you'll be expecting, if they're getting money back, you're getting your funds on your funding date, which is 3 business days.
Mhm. And then as far as for notaries that want to start marketing to title companies, do you have any, like, advice?
The
Go ahead.
powers in the follow up. I've walked into companies. I'm such an introvert, by the way. Such an introvert. So marketing has been really hard for me,
Yeah.
but the power is really in the follow up. I go into that title company, introduce myself, but then after that, it's really if you follow up, because if you was it out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
So constantly following up every week. Hey, do you have any signings for me today? I'd love to help you out. A lot of title companies, by the way, they love the mobile office. If you have a mobile office, they go crazy over it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
because that's the timing of everything. That really makes a
yeah,
difference.
yeah. So just really, before you go out and market and be like, hey, I'm a notary, really just think about and write down, what value can I add to this
Mhm.
company?
Yeah.
What value can I bring you? How can I help you grow your business? And that's the kind of the route that I take. I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, my name is Emily. I'm a notary signing agent. I do signings in your area. I love to help you save time and money,
Mhm.
but by taking care of your signings. That way you can do what you do best and close your files. And
Yeah.
I have a mobile office. I understand how time sensitive closings can be. Just
Mhm.
really get in their world and really find out what they're struggling with, which is documents being sent back on time. You understand the importance of making sure everything is signed, that there's no errors. Really get into their world and really give them value. Don't just say, hey, hire me. What can you offer them? That's the direction. That's what worked for me. In the beginning, I'm like, hey, I'm a notary signing agent. Please hire me.
Yeah.
I was really nervous, but as I did loan signing system, and through time, I noticed, okay, what value can I add to this client? And
Mhm.
that's how I would market.
Yeah. Yeah. But your social media is good. Okay, so I feel like when I started doing social media, one, it was very, very difficult for me too, because I'm pretty introverted as it is anyway. But I do find the value, and I have gotten clients and like meaningful relationships from putting myself out there on social media. And have you found that to be the case as well? Kind of?
100%. At first I was like in denial about social media. I'm like, I don't need this. I don't like it. Like I can do this another way. But really, I had someone tell me like, hey, your Instagram account is now like your business card.
Exactly.
It's like this. They're great, but
Hmm.
really Instagram is your new business, and that's how people will really let people into your world.
Yes.
I have seen, especially from notaries, I
Hmm.
have seen a lot of notaries reach out to me like, hey, thank you for that post. It helped me a lot. So not only are title companies are not following me, but I get notaries, and I
Hmm.
create this relationship with these notaries, and I'm talking to them, and now I've worked with new notaries based on Instagram. I found this notary that I work with. It was an emergency. I needed a notary in Virginia so bad.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't find one. So I went on Instagram and I found her, and she's like my go-to. She is my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super important to get your name out there, get yourself out there. If
Yeah.
you're introverted like me, you're behind a screen. You're not face to face, which is a whole other ball game. But yes, I have seen a lot of success from Instagram, and it's honestly like a second job. I'm on camera making all these posts, and I have content ideas on my wall. But yeah, I've definitely seen success. I've made connections not just with notaries and title companies, but with realtors, lenders that eventually they turn into referrals.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, because I've gotten a good amount from the social media that I do. And in the beginning, I felt like, oh, this is cringy. This is good. Everybody's going to make fun of me. But one, who cares? And two, if you're making an income and it's actually working, then it doesn't really matter if you feel stupid filming yourself.
Some people will connect and some people won't.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's been my motto like throughout this whole journey with EmClosings that I started. I just want to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be myself. I want to put my best foot out there. And hey, not everyone's gonna like your post. Not everyone's probably gonna not everyone's gonna relate, but other people will. And the few people that I've gotten like, hey, I thank you so much for your content. It's really helped me. That's changed the game for me.
It is.
And I have gotten a client or two from there be like, hey, I really liked your Instagram, so I want to give you the business.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice too, because then I saw you on social media and I was like, okay, she'll probably come on the channel. This will be fun. Thank you for putting yourself out there, because it does help. And I know, like for me, when I was first starting out, I thought that like title companies and closing services, I was terrified to ask them questions. So the things that you post is usually really, really helpful to just get a little bit more of a look as to what title companies are looking for, what you guys are struggling with, and then like how notaries can kind of market to you.
My account is not only for title companies, it's for everybody. Someone looking into becoming a loan signing agent, or whether you're a title company looking for a signing service, or et cetera. It's really for everybody. And it's at first I just started out to just market my services. But now, as I started posting more, I realized like, oh my God, this is reaching out to a lot more people than I thought.
Yeah.
And it's been really helpful. And I'm on this interview here with you because of Instagram. If I wasn't active, if I wasn't doing it, this probably would have never happened. And so many other connections that I've made.
Yeah. Yeah, because I originally I was with everybody with social media is ruining everything. It's connecting people. I get a lot of information from it.
I've gotten so many ideas that I've implemented into my business, into the way I run my business, just because I've gotten ideas, from other people posting. So it's been great. It's been I was hesitant to really lean into it and to start it. Same thing as you. It was gonna be cringy. I'm gonna have to be fake because I don't like. I'm like, no, I'm actually myself.
Yeah.
And people, and you just put yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
Be yourself, and I reap the benefits. And people see that. And people like it. Yeah.
Thank you for sitting down with me. This has been super nice.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for helping us with all, our signings. You've been great too.
Thank you. So where can people find you to get signings? I'm saying like from title companies if they want to work with you, or I guess notaries as well.
We are based in Miami, but again, we hire anywhere nationwide. You can find us on our website, www.emclosingsnotary.com. Again, that's www.emclosingsnotary.com. And then please follow our Instagram, stay updated with us. We constantly putting updates there. We have a link there as well. We have a link tree, and that's at EmClosings. Yes. And yeah, that's where you can find us.
Yes, and that's fun to watch too. I mean, I like all the posts and everything. So
thank you. I like yours too. I really do. It's really motivating.
Okay, so that is going to wrap us up. But thank you so much for joining us, and follow us along for more tips and tutorials.